music was amazing. Sugar, sugar, bow, wow. Yeah. So, but in Peru it sounded so much better. I mean in Puerto Rico it sounded so much better. I can't even remember where I was at. But anyway, I got in at 2 a.m. last night, so I can't remember where I was at. So good luck on that. But seriously though, we had an amazing time in Puerto Rico. Just got back. We had it was the first time ever to have a team of 100% Puerto Ricans plus 2 gringos. So it was amazing. And what we did there was 60 plus salvations that happened this week. There was 5 homes that were taken off the FEMA list this week as well. So that was awesome. So good job on that. And then when we went to Youth Challenge as one of the places that we went to do some ministry. And every time that we go there, it's a place in Ponce where these youth come for their last chance, basically. It's their last deal before prison, and it's done with the National Guard in Puerto Rico. And so it's a military-style camp. They are unable to do anything for the first 30 days. They can't go anywhere, can't do anything. They got to be they're really confined. There's not a lot you can do with them. And then they're there for, 3 to 6 months, something like that. And so they're constantly changing out. So we go there every time that we go, and we have an opportunity to minister to them. The great thing about it is the church that we work with in Ponce, they are in that facility as well all the time on a regular basis. So we bring our teams in, and so when our teams come in, it's just fantastic. I mean, they're hearing the testimony of the students. They're getting ministered to, and we have an opportunity to pray with them, and the questions afterwards, and just spending time with them. And then what was so great about this trip was these Puerto Rican youth, they have never done anything like this before ever, right? And so they are there, and they are just like, and they're like totally fearful. I mean, they're like, I don't know what to say. I can't say anything. I don't know, that kind of stuff. And so, me and my grace mode that I walk in sometimes. So I just kind of sometimes. Wow. So I just kind of gather them up, and I just kind of push them and shove them into different groups and different stuff, and it's awesome because they're forced to do some things. And so there's a group of students, and they weren't able to really do much, and they were kind of like trying to figure out what to do and where to go, and they didn't have any place where to go. And I'm like, come on. So I gathered them all. There's about 4 or 5 of these boys, and we went over to another group, about 5 or 6 of these other students, and we gathered up, and I started talking. Well, I speak English. I speak English. I don't speak Espanol. And so I started speaking English, and a couple of the boys in the group could translate, And so they started stepping over the plate translating, and by the end they were praying over the kids. It was just really cool. So this week was complete about discipleship training, and so they got some really practical hands-on stuff. The gentleman that we partnered together with in Puerto Rico, he's just phenomenal as well, and so he speaks Spanish and English, and so he did a phenomenal job with us. We partnered together with him, and our team in Puerto Rico that we have a team of 5 in Puerto Rico of Puerto Ricans, and so they put this whole camp on, and it went off without a hitch. It was just awesome. It was amazing. Lives that were changed, transformed, not only there, but what ended up happening. So this picture you're seeing here is a picture of this morning at the church that we partnered together with in Ponce. And that's a picture. This is the first time ever that this has happened in this church, and that for some reason a busload of 60 students from that youth challenge came to church on Sunday morning for the very first time. I mean, it's awesome. So we sat down and we were talking with the pastor, and we were like sharing with him, like, what do we need to do? How do we do follow-up more effectively? All that kind of stuff. And the next thing, we get this photograph this morning of 60 plus students showing up at the church. So that's pretty awesome. So guys, we're doing it. We're making an impact wherever we go. And so I just want to read you this. This is from one of the parents. They posted on Facebook last night. So this is Google Translate. So just so you know when I'm reading it, it's Google Translate. So one of the parents of one of the students that were with us this week says, there are no words that can describe the joy that is felt to see, hear, and hear again what God does with our children. She names the name of her child. Had this week complete one of the experiences we know marked his life forever. He was also, like other great boys, in the Fuel International Camp, the missionary camp, training, executing, and practicing what was served there, or probably what was taught there. Seeing these photos every day does not compare with listening to each testimony and experience that we know he has the best plantings planted in them. In other words, what she's saying is, we saw photographs all throughout the week of what our students were doing, but nothing compares to my son coming home and actually sharing his stories about his life being changed and being impacted. Thanks all to the team, and she lists off everybody that was involved. And it says, thank you for caring, watching, discipling, and above all, the life of my son. He told us everything they did for him and everything that with his testimony and delivery they ministered into his life. Thanks our impact leader. Thanks to our impact leaders, thanks our leaders are impactful. We bless you with the love very much. We are very happy. And so that was just one story of one of the kids, but the parents that were coming to pick up their kids at the end of the week was just off the charts. It was just full on amazing. Last night we did a commissioning service with the students, and just all the sobbing and bawling and crying and joyful stuff going on. It was just awesome. And the cool thing about this is we had more boys on this trip than we did girls, which is our first time ever as well. Most of the time it's mostly girls that come on the trips, but so it's really cool. So we're making impact. We're making impact locally and globally, and we absolutely have a lot to be thankful for. And as we turn our eyes towards July, just be remembering of that. This is a great time to get involved, a great time to plug in. He may only be able to help out a little bit here and a little bit here. That's okay. You may be able to not help out anything with the float, but you might be able to help out on the 4th of July day. That's great. It's just a great way to get involved in our community and a great way to be able to press into our community, right? Because the church is not about the four walls. The church is about us being out there doing this stuff. Amen? Amen. So happy Father's Day or happy Man's Day. A couple grunts in the room, please. Thank you very much. Father's Day, I don't know if you knew this, but Father's Day is actually celebrated in 87 different countries around the world. And it's celebrated on the very same day, so we're all celebrating together. It's the third Sunday in June, so that's kind of cool, kind of a global bringing together. I just have to say, dads are amazing because I are one, and we gotta admit that dads, they tell the best jokes in the world. I mean, did you hear about that restaurant on the moon, for instance? They had great food, but no atmosphere. What do you call a fake noodle? Impasta. Impasta. It's an impasta. So this one's for Fabian. Why did the coffee file a police report? Because it got mugged. And he had no grounds for it. Mom comes in with the dad joke. That's good. My mom says all the dad jokes. She gets them secretly at night from dad. And then what did the grape do when he got stepped on? He let out a little wine. So anyway, what I love about dads, we love the dad joke kind of things, but not only that, but we love to embarrass our kids whenever we get a chance. Take a look at this video here. Oh, not that video. Sorry, not that video. Not that video. Don't listen to this. La 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 la. Not that video. That's a better video. Yeah, this one. There we go.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Go, Dad. Where's the running man? Come on, let's do the running man or something in here. You know? Oh, there he goes, the robot. Come on. Nice move. Yeah. Woo! It's funny. You watch him dancing, and look at all the youth.
I know.
They're all just going.
Yeah.
And his dad's got all his moves, man. He's amazing. So that's how we love to embarrass our kids. That is awesome right there. Also, I love about dads is dads love to eat cold pizza for breakfast. That is amazing. And I love it because dads love to butcher the songs of their children whenever possible. And I'll be in a car and my kids will have some song on the radio. I just love to butcher it. It is absolutely phenomenal and amazing. Or if you want to do that rap song at the top of your lungs, and then you got to say a lot of yo, yo, yo for zizzle. In the middle. For sizzle. For sizzle. For sizzle. For sizzle. For sizzle. Anyway, that just keeps encouraging me. I don't know about you, but anyway, should just keep it up. I'm on it right now. I'm on it. Come on, fizzle. Yo, yo, yo. So I realize in this room today, not everybody in this room is a dad, or that everyone in the room has had a good dad. And for some, Father's Day can actually be more of a negative than a positive, just depending on who you are and where you've come from. And I want to recognize that. But today what I want to do is I want to focus on what a good dad is. Because I think it's really important for us to understand what a good dad is and what it means. And that it gives us an opportunity not only for us males to be able to emulate what a good dad is, but it also gives us an opportunity for each and every one of us in the room to emulate what a good dad does. And so this morning I want to show you this video right here.
Gobs.
Dad,
Mm-hmm.
you know my brother?
Connor? I do.
How much?
Gobs and Gobs.
Dad,
Mm-hmm.
do you love God?
Yeah.
How much?
Gobs and Gobs.
Dad,
Uh-huh.
do you love me? Dad,
I do.
how much? I already know.
Gobs
Gobs
and
and
Gobs.
Gobs. Dad,
Mm-hmm.
how much is a gob?
Well, let me put it like this. Your favorite color is yellow. And when you eat those nut butter cookies, you always scrape the peanut butter out of the middle and you secretly feed it to the dog because you think the dog deserves a treat too. At nighttime, I know before you go to bed, you always pull your Barbies all together because you don't want them to be lonely. And sometimes when you get a little nervous, you bat your eyes like this, get really, really, really fast. But when you're happy and when you're excited, you always twirl your hair right beside your ear. And you love your mama's red earrings. And you always seem to eat your green beads one at a time. You see, my love, I notice you. And I love being your daddy. And I will always be here for you. Even on your best days, even on your worst days, your daddy loves you and will always be here for you. And that, my dear, that's what a gob is.
I love you too, Daddy.
I'll gobble you up. So when I look at this video, I not only see a dad that pays careful attention to his family, but I'm also reminded of our Heavenly Father who loves us very much. And each and every one of us in this room have a dad, whether it's a physical dad or a dad in the heavens, and he loves you. And one of the things I always want to be reminded of is that love of our Father. Because that love of that dad gives us an example for us all to live by. The example of that dad is the one that I want to try to emulate my life from. And will it be highly successful 100% of the time? No. But that's what I want to go for. And that each and every one of us in this room, no matter where you've come from, whether you've had a good dad or maybe not such a good dad, is to realize that there is a good dad and he loves you. He's better than Santa Claus, I like to say, right? Because he knows when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake, right? He knows you inside and out, and he knows what frustrates you, he knows what's going to make you grow, he knows what you've been called to. I think that is awesome, right? And it's like a good dad knows what their kids are called to because they're paying attention along the way. They're kind of helping scope it out along the way and helping them kind of discover that. You know, we don't smother, but what we do is we try to encourage in the middle of that process to understand what our kids have been called to. And our Heavenly Father knows what you've been called to. And I love this, that He has a plan for you. And it's a plan for good and not for evil. A plan for a future and a plan for a hope. He loves you. And we always got to keep that in memory. And if I can understand, I love this video because if I could just understand the Gobs and Gobs, that our Heavenly Father loves us, Gobs and Gobs. So much so that even, you know, he was talking about the color, you know, of you like yellow, you know, and starts describing these different things, right? How many know that your Heavenly Father knows all that about you as well? So much so that He even knows how many hairs are on your head. Some of us, it's easy to count. So what are the top traits of a good dad? Number one, we have to understand that the top trait of a good dad is loving, right? Words and action. For God is what? 1 John 4:8. God is what? Love. And so if you don't have love, you have what was say in 1 Corinthians 13. If you don't have love, you have what? Nothing. You're a noisy gong, a clanging cymbal. And how many know there's been a lot of noisy gong, clanging cymbal fathers out there? Yeah. And so the reality is that those noisy gong, clanging cymbal fathers, they try to do right the thing that they're supposed to do. I'm trying to be a dad. Listen, you don't have to try to be a dad. Right? Because if the love of God is in you, you just are a good dad. Right? Because you're listening, you're intently kind of leaning in and hearing what the Father has for us. Another top trait of a good dad is